Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bold TV. My name is Matt Canizaro, and thank you for tuning in for day two of the Super Senior Classic here in Las Vegas. We are live at the Samstown Bowling Center, 56 lanes. The best bowlers in the world, age 60 and older here. Looking for the 2021 title. 157 total players in the field, and we are on day two of qualifying. They bowled 6 games yesterday, 6 games today, and then the field will be cut to the top 40 for tomorrow's cashers round. They'll then bowl 6 more games, and 18-game pinfall totals will determine the 12 players advancing to round robin match play. A unique group step ladder will follow, and then the championship round will determine this year's winner. Ty Dawson is our defending champ here at Samstown. He won the 2019 event. We've got some other past champions in the field as well. Leading the way on day one, Amleto Monacelli, the USBC and PBA Hall of Famer, averaged nearly 236 for his 6 games. He'll be on the lanes this morning, bowling on the fresh 40-foot oil pattern. We'll see what he's got for today's block. We'll have an update later today on bowl.com and, of course, throughout the day on our USBC social media channels. With that, let's get to the action. Joining me for the duration of this event, it's Jason Thomas. He's here next to me, keeping things going, and some great insight as things unfold here at Samstown. Jason, welcome.
Hey, good morning, Matt. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Had a fun time yesterday, watching some great bowling, and always nice to catch up with Amleto. So we'll see what he's got in store for us.
Well, he bowled great yesterday. That was obviously expected, not just because he's a great player, but because he was on the burn yesterday, and he will eat that up, especially with his high rev rate. He's got one of the bigger rev rates in the field, and he's able to get left of everybody and just kind of open things up. But today he's on the fresh, so I would imagine he'd still bowl well, considering the caliber of player that he is. But if anything's going to slow him down, we're going to find out if the fresh is that thing. So today we're going to see him perform, and we've got a lot of other talented players in the field, including in front of us Noel Vasquez, who we spoke with last night. He's another player that really likes the burn. He bowled well yesterday. Let's see how he handles the fresh as we get full screen into the action.
And there we have it. Once again, 157 players, USBC members 60 and older. Glad to have everybody here. This part of a traditional West Coast swing, part of the PBA 50 Tour. A little bit different look here in 2021. Generally, the events fall in the first part of June, kicking off with the Brentwood, California PBA 50 stop, then the Super Senior Classic, the USBC Senior Masters, followed by the Senior US Open. Things looking a little bit different, of course. The time shift now to September, which is what allowed Amleto to be here. He turned 60 on August 27th. So had we been in our normal time frame, well, he's not here showing the field a few things. But here we are. He's taking advantage so far through one day. Last week ended up being the Senior US Open in place of the Brentwood stop. It was in Brentwood, so a 2-for-1. That event won by Tom Hess. He beat Chris Barnes in the title match, and then Amleto was third. So for not bowling much in recent weeks, Amleto seems to be doing okay. Again, we'll follow him throughout the day today. You can catch him on the live scoring as well as he crosses the house, or on the other channels here on Bowl TV, because we do that now, and it's super cool. So you can watch your favorite player or players as they cross Samstown. So check that out. But stick around and listen to all the great, insightful things we have to say along the way. And again, 6 games. Then we'll take a short break and be back for A Squad back on the lanes for 6 games on the burn. If you'd like to check out the oil pattern they're bowling on today, you can visit bowl.com/super senior and get all the details there. Take a look at the graph and see the schedule for the rest of the week, and then we'll follow things immediately by the it sure is, but the Senior Masters for the best bowlers 50 and older. So many of these players started at the U.S. Open. They'll be here for this, and then they'll stick around for the Senior Masters as well, where shocker, Amleto is the defending champion. So really putting on a show here at Samstown and already shaping up that way in 2021.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy we're definitely going to talk a lot about over the next couple of days and really week and a half. You would expect he would have another nice run at the Senior Masters. But right in front of us now, we've got a group of talented players. I mentioned Noel Vasquez. He had a good start to his tournament yesterday, 92 over. And looks like he's got a pretty nice ball reaction early. We did see him leave a 10 pin in the second frame. So it looks like, to me, he's using a lot of surface. He's playing a lot further to the right than he did yesterday, but he's still playing quite a bit of hook. And we saw a lot of 10 pins on that lane 20 yesterday. So it's something we'll have to watch for. It is going to be the championship pair. Our final step ladder will take place on 19 and 20. So we're going to have to watch the ability to carry on lane 20 as the tournament wears on. But Scott Myers, he's playing a little bit further out to the right. He looks like he has a pretty nice ball reaction as well. Michael Warren had a nice start to his tournament yesterday. We got to watch him bowl 240 on 21 and 22. Brother of Chris Warren, former Senior Masters champion as well. He's actually here watching just behind Michael and also his brother Butch, who's bowling on 17 and 18. Chris not quite eligible yet for this tournament. Still has a few years. He's a youngster. But watching his big brothers. Terry Bandel and John Dudak on 21 and 22. With Doug Kemp. I used to bowl a lot of PCBs with Doug. He's an excellent bowler from California. We have live scoring available again today. Every pair, if we don't happen to be on one of the pairs that you're interested in following a player, you can follow them via the live scoring. We do have cameras on 7 through 26 here today again, and we will for the rest of the event. So as we get down into the match play, we'll be covering every bowler. But today we got about half the field covered on Bowl TV, and then if you want to follow anybody who gets out of our camera range, you can on the live scoring, and the link is available to the live scoring either through bowl.com /super senior, or you can just toggle on the chat tab to the right. One tab to the right will get you to all of the links to the relevant information, the standings, the live scoring, the oil pattern, anything you want to know about the event available right here on that tab on Bowl TV. Philip Davis also on this pair, 21 and 22, lefty. It's interesting, we just finished up the U.S. Women's Open, and in general on the PWBA Tour, we did see a couple of lefties make the show, but only 3 lefties in the tournament. And so this field has a much higher proportion of left-handed players than we typically see on the PWBA Tour. So see a little bit more transition on the left side than we're used to out on the PWBA. And it did have an impact on the play yesterday. I felt like, wouldn't you agree, Matt?
I mean, definitely when you have that much traffic, I think that they're going to be there's going to be a different thought process entirely. And we wondered if they were to get to a point where there would be some crisscross with the riders moving far enough left and the lefties considering the idea of creeping a little bit right, but I don't know that we ever got to that point. The lefties were able to stay out, and we did see some roller coaster scores from a couple, especially on the fresh. Really depending on, as you had noted, if they were going from one fresh pair to another, where there would have been no warm ups, or from where they were to a pair that had been bowled on, perhaps after warm ups and an entire game or two of left handers. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. We're not super used to a lot of traffic. I mean, it does happen. You mentioned the U.S. Women's Open where it didn't happen very much, right? One squad had only one lefty on it, so but at the same time, if it's not there, it's not there. It's not going to show up in 6 games for sure. But coming in today, these guys bowled on the burn yesterday, and so I'm sure lots of surface adjustments as they were getting ready to come and attack the fresh. And we saw many of them walking the lanes yesterday to get an idea of what it was going to take today, and sure a lot of conversations happening as well. And I think it's pretty logical, JT, how you would handle one from the other as far as getting ready, but maybe not. What are your thoughts on, I mean, we talked to our leader Glenn Smith yesterday on the fresh, and then he was headed straight upstairs to get ready for the burn by taking his balls from 2,000 to 3,000, maybe adding a little polish. But for these gentlemen, it's the opposite. Logically, again, you've got the fresh. Maybe you're gonna move closer to the gutter and add some surface. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there are quite a few lefties that are in the top 20 currently, and so some of those lefties got their score early on the fresh, and some of them got it later. But the majority of the tournament after today is going to be conducted on fresh, so I would expect there's a lot of good lefties in the field, so I would expect to see at least one or two make it into our step ladder finals later in the week. But man, I mean, you've got so many good names at the top of the leaderboard, PBA champions like Eric Oracle and Hugh Miller. But you've also got a number of really good lefties that you've mentioned. Paul McCordick is another good one who's 21st after yesterday. But it does appear that they can get the ball to hook off the gutter, which is really what lefties are all looking for. And I do feel like they will be a factor as the week goes on.
I like being a factor every once in a while.
It does feel like, though, even though the pattern is asymmetrical, it's got a little bit higher ratio on the right side than it does on the left. It does feel like the righties can get the ball to hook off the gutter as well, but it also feels like we're seeing a lot more righties start further left than lefties starting further right. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. But tricky pattern. There was you would expect with a field this talented and this big that we might have seen some 290s, 280s, 300s. I think the high game yesterday was 278.
Well, it kind of is the major of the PBA 60, right? So they want you to go out there and earn it. No shortage of time spent thinking through, I'm sure, the pattern and the challenge and just the traffic patterns and different things, and taking the surface and the environment into consideration. Yesterday, one of the 5 rainy days in Las Vegas, and we know that can be a factor as well at times. And underground in the downstairs at Samstown. So all of those things. So, but these are smart guys, and they've been around a while and seen generations in evolution in our sport and have all the tricks, no doubt. And even again, in talking with Glenn after the first squad yesterday, at 61 years old, reinventing his game, just changing things, adding things, and becoming a multi-dimensional player. Whereas before, he was able to kind of almost have the left-handed mentality, which he's not, but just put some surface on the ball and just fire it. And a lot of times that may work. But to exceed at this level or succeed at this level, uh, you need to get beyond just the one trick, and he's doing that. And Leto is his roommate and his guide in this journey a little bit, and it's all falling into place. So a proud moment for the teacher, but also had to offer that gentle reminder that he's still the boss.
All right, so we're about the halfway point of game number one, and if you're watching us over on Facebook or the Bull TV YouTube channel, we will be leaving you after game one. So be sure to get your Bull TV subscription if you want to watch this great action the rest of the week. And also for the USBC Senior Masters, we do have a couple of different subscription options available. We have event tickets for both the Super Senior Classic and the USBC Senior Masters available. But you could also do a monthly, which is kind of the best deal if you want to watch these two events over the next week and a half or so. And you also aren't going to want to miss the conclusion of the PWBA Tour season, which comes up at the end of October 24th through the 31st. We'll be in Reno for that, and man, that's going to be an incredible finish to the season. About 9 or 10 different players still have a chance to win PWBA Player of the Year. We will conclude that event with the return of the Tour Championship with a $50,000 top prize, and the finals will be on CBS Sports Network for that event. So you're not going to want to miss that. So be sure to get your subscription. You can also purchase an annual subscription and not want to miss the 90 or so events that we plan over the next year on Bull TV.
You're rubbing it in.
It's possible that we can do that many events in 1 year, but it's true.
You're rubbing it in. I will be missing the Reno event. And two of my favorite things, three, the biggest little city, the National Bowling Stadium, and the PWBA. And I will be only able to enjoy that from afar this time around.
You'll have to watch on Bull TV. You have to get your subscription.
Maybe there's an employee discount.
No discounts. We're like Rolex. We never drop the price. But hope you're enjoying the coverage, and we're certainly enjoying bringing it to you on this beautiful Saturday. Looking up and down the bowling center, there are a few strings of strikes as I look. Rick Hara has the front, it's possible 279, front 2, 9 spare, and 5 bagger, so he's got off to a quick start. Bill Nichols has a strike open 4 bagger. In front of us, it feels like, Matt, this little 4-lane section that we're focusing on here in game number 1 has been a little bit on the low scoring side. Wouldn't you say?
I feel like traditionally 19 and 20 is just, again, more challenging, and Ron Moore displayed it pretty well yesterday with the 2 lanes being clearly different. But 21 and 22, maybe just compared to 19 and 20, yielding a whole lot more strikes and strings, but definitely not as much as to our left or our right. So who knows? We spend a lot of time here. This is our feature prepared for many events. So it'd be in the player's best interest to figure it out. Take good notes.
yeah, I'm just running through live scoring right now, and just gonna check to see if anybody has the front something. Do see a few good strings of strikes as I'm cruising up and down. Jeff Jameson with possible 279. Ronald Boroff with the front six on 35 and 36.
Another left-hander.
So we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Stand out in the southwest region, Mansfield, Texas.
Yeah, just a few miles from our hometown. Chris in the chat has a good question on how championship pairs are chosen for these events. That's a very good question. Typically, Nick Hoagland will come out and do a site visit. He's our lane maintenance guru, and he's encyclopedic in his knowledge of each of the bowling centers in which we bowl. And he will typically choose the championship pair based on a number of factors. Sometimes it has to do with television. For example, if we're in a venue where we want to do a televised finals, sometimes it will have to do with the proximity of that lane to access points for wiring for the TV truck. If it is in a venue like this where we don't have television, we'll typically do it in front of the place where we have the best live stream access, which is right in front of where we are right now. That's where our internet's coming in. So it's typically those two factors that play into it, but there's also historical reasons as well. So for example, if a certain pair has been used traditionally for a televised finals, Nick will pay extra special attention to that pair and the condition of it when he goes and does the site visit, and decide if we want to keep that as the finals pair or maybe pick a different pair. But yeah, that's typically what goes into it. And then in a lot of events we will have, like for example this week we've got live scoring, so there's some data that we have on the averages of the pairs, and we can break that down by right or left hand, and you want to pick a pair that plays as fair as possible when you have the luxury in those situations. So yeah, there's quite a few things that go into it, but great question. Got a couple questions in the Facebook chat about the pattern. It is a medium length pattern, 40 feet. Kind of medium volume as well. Surface is pretty high friction. And so yeah, folks noticing that the balls are checking up pretty early, and probably more due to the surface and volume rather than length of the pattern here this week. But I also think that's why we're seeing a lot of the righties start so far left and I think what's kind of held the scoring pace down a little bit is it seems like there's two schools of thought. You have some of the righties playing way to the right because they can still see the ball hook off of the gutter a little bit. Not sure how consistent that reaction is pair to pair, but you can also see some friction from the track, and so it's kind of been a split transition for the righties, which can make it play a little bit more difficult, especially if you start to the right and you start to see the ball hook early. It's hard to judge how far left you have to move because now you're moving into the traffic that the players who started a little further left during those early games. So we did see a few players struggle towards the end of the block yesterday on the morning squad because they ran into that transition and weren't quite sure where to go. But it's certainly something to watch for as the day unfolds.
I think this center especially, there's so much history here, right, with the PWBA here many times in the olden days and collegiate events here going back into my time for sure in the 1990s. But this also is one of those centers that it's never not busy. So anytime you're down here, there's dozens or 100 people just out there bowling, enjoying. It's a great feature of Sam's Town, but maybe less so with the synthetic lane panels than in the true olden days with the wood, where all of that traffic is going to affect things, right? Compared to like a National Bowling Stadium or South Point, or one of the tournament venues where it's only typically higher caliber competition, right? So.
Well, Matt, we have some prior knowledge of the future here. If you don't like really bad breaks, don't watch right now. Noel Vasquez on the 19th. Yeah, that was nasty.
Was that part of the conversation on the way to when we were grabbing the food last night, right? You guys were talking and he mentioned not bowling particularly well on one of our featured pairs, right? And you mentioned something about an 8-10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just a terrible break, and whoops.
Man, that was brutal. Good shot there, and Noel trying to bail this game out, and leaves a stone 7-9. But yeah, I do remember my first visit to Las Vegas in my life was to bowl a JAT event at Sam's Town. And man, they hooked a lot. And I think the surface has been changed since then, but they were synthetic then as well. But I remember the ball of choice for me that week was an ebonite straight shot. Remember that ball? No.
No,
They had a hook shot
before my
and a straight shot.
Okay.
And the hook shot was blue, and I liked the color better. But the straight shot was this dark orange, and it was a plastic ball. And I remember I had to use the straight shot at Sam's Town because they hooked so much. They were just flying, as we used to say back in the day.
And Rob pointed out that this was a hot spot for the high roller as well for a time. So just a lot of memories and special moments in this facility.
Yeah, for sure. It's an iconic bowling venue, for sure.
Rick Harris seems to like it so far this morning. 268.
Yeah, nice start for him.
Game number one. He's throwing some big shots in his days. Eagle winner at the Open Championships, and I believe he either won the Peterson once or made a run. So another.
Have you ever bowled the Peterson?
I bowled it one time.
Yeah.
When we were headquartered up in Milwaukee. It's kind of an employee night out for a group. Went down there after work one day and definitely unique.
How'd you do?
I, I, well, I did as one might expect at the Peterson. Had a fun dinner with the guys.
Yeah.
Bowled the Peterson, and then had a interesting, frustrating. Holy, had a fun drive home. So
Again, if you
I'm
don't like
terrible at this.
bad breaks, and you are a fan of Noel Vasquez, you may want to avert your eyes here. Looking for a double here to get into the 180s,
And then Matt happened.
yeah. So I don't. Noel did leave the whole back row that game. He left a 10 pin in the second, 7-9 in the ninth, and an 8 pin in the 11th. So congratulations, Noel. You hit for the cycle.
Well, I mean, on the bright side, you got the 10 out, right? So I mean, you have to look at it half full, half empty.
True. He didn't leave the whole back row in 2 shots. We did see that on the PWBA tour earlier this year. One of our competitors, back-to-back frames, went solid 7-9, then 8-10 the next frame.
I think all you can do is laugh at that point.
Yeah, it's hard to leave the whole back row in 2 frames.
So they are the best in the world for a reason.
Yeah. That's like 180 in darts, right?
Well, the life's not being sat out here on our featured pairs.
No. There are some high scores throughout the building. We did mention there was a front 7, which ended in the 8th, but certainly some high scores elsewhere, but not so much on these 2 pairs that we have in front of us. And
but we spent a lot of time behind these 2 pairs of lanes, and this is not really atypical. So I think we're just generally bad luck. That's more than anything.
Well,
to get nervous under the bright TV lights of Bowl TV.
Yeah, and we did see Noel Vasquez leave a stone 8 on lane 20, and now Scott Myers with a chance to shoot 199 leaves his first shot in the 10th on 19.
But little do these folks know that once the nerves come on our featured pairs here, we now have multiple featured pairs. So what looks like it could be an air purifier or some sort of COVID repelling device. They're actually cameras now throughout the venue. So one gentleman had no idea. Oh, those are cameras. My friends can watch me. Indeed, technology certainly looks much different than it did just a few years ago when these events first came to Samstown.
Yeah, I get that. Wherever we use those Mevo cameras, people are surprised that they're cameras, but they're great. They allow us to cover more of the event with a lot less equipment. They do kind of look like defoggers or something.
It's very familiar here in 2021. Just never know. Something I feel like something John Taffer would put at a bar rescue to make folks feel comfortable and hygienic.
All right, coming to the end of game number 1, as mentioned, we will be signing off of Facebook and Bowl TV YouTube channel. So if you want to watch the rest of the coverage, head over to bowltv.com. If you have your subscription, thank you. If not, be sure to get it. We'll be doing some giveaways later today, and you don't want to miss out on that. But thanks for watching this morning. Hope you're having a great day. Be sure to mix in some bowling with your college football here on Saturday.
Well, JT, one game of the 8 over 190. Bit of a tough start here for our featured players, but still 5 more games to go. Then we'll cut the field later today. These guys will wait patiently, or maybe not so patiently, for A squad to take the lanes this afternoon. And then we'll cut from 157 down to 40 for the cashers round based on their 12 game totals. Then 6 more tomorrow morning. 18-game pinfall totals will determine the 12 for the unique Jason Thomas inspired group match play and group step ladders. That's always fun to explain, but it really does make sense once you get to it. And it's kind of fun, and nobody's really ever out of it. So